Finally here. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And no, I'm not talking about Christmas or the holiday season. It is officially WrestleMania season. And for us wrestling fans, this is like a holiday. Why? You're going to find out on today's show. Not to mention, we have new women's tag team champions. And are we still dancing around the idea that Vince has something to do creative due to this match that had been booked for WrestleMania? All that and more. We're going to
I
find out
wonder.
after this.
Houston, we have a problem.
What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
Oh, yeah. Ooh, that is the signal so that you all know that we have officially started the show. Welcome one, welcome all to the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast, starring your favorite podcast crew, us, the Wrestling Wrealm. Gentlemen, what's the word? How's everybody feeling today?
Man. I'm gonna break the fourth wall.
By all
That's-
means, you can do whatever you want to do.
I just said how much I hate superlatives. You just did it because somebody used to always say your favorite.
Interesting. A lot of inside jokes to start the show.
Mhm. Hey, Bougie, I gotta give a shout out to Dwayne on that one, bro. That was all him for the music. All right, one of us is frozen.
That's me, I think. Is it me?
Okay.
Am I here? Okay.
Yeah, I was just saying, giving you a shout out because you put that music together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, could you believe that was actually well, I won't give the secrets away. It's okay. I'll leave it to the imagination of the listener.
Mhm. But yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. It is WrestleMania season, baby. You know, so I'm feeling good. I got my TRDA brand. I'm ready to take some respect and defy adversity. I got the new shirt too, by the way. Shout out to the realness. Got the large, no longer the 2X. The one I wore at Wale Mania last.
But we are here, good brothers, once again. It's just random
Dang.
silence on my behalf. I didn't
That's
even hear.
good audio.
Right.
I said give it a whole shout out, a testimony
Right.
about the TRDA brand, and then
And
he
listen,
just said, "We are here."
As
Willow.
soon as soon as you started, I was like, okay, here we go. Now,
You
what-
did
what-
it. You know what you did at the beginning of the show.
That's okay.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Do I?
You said his name. You said his name.
You did.
I didn't mention them.
You,
You
did,
did.
bro.
Oh shoot! God!
I was
Bruh.
on
I just had to
backstage
say
brawl
it.
this
I wasn't
past
paying
weekend,
attention.
and I told them, I said, I don't want to do this, but y'all asked me. I said, but I'm very particular now. We're pre-recorded, so I'm very particular. I said, because every time we say his name, it wreaks havoc. I'm trying to
Bro,
be a
it just-
respectable guest.
It causes issues every single time we get on, especially on my end. Good gosh, I don't know what the heck you just knocked over,
My bad.
but the front part of his microphone just picked up every last bit of that.
Yeah, it showing up did. My bad. And knocked over the shot glass.
And
I don't
it's-
even drink.
It sounds like it's sliding across the table like it's ice skating.
That's the funny thing. Yeah, Brother Hugh don't even drink. And he
Yeah,
got a
don't
shot
even drink a
glass.
little shot glass. Yeah.
Shot glasses are nice novelties. We go on
Mhm.
vacation, see this random gift shop, nothing but shot glasses with Barbados and St. Thomas on it.
right. Oh, that's
Yeah,
the one from when I
except
went to
that time when
Mexico.
me and Brother Hugh had to go in the WrestleMania store because somebody had to get a shot glass. Coming to Patreon very soon.
There you go.
What's it? Anybody like to diverge into who that may have potentially been?
Nah,
No,
you-
that's okay.
you
No,
gotta
that's
get
all right.
to that later. Yeah.
That's gonna be a funny one.
Exclusive.
Shout out to everybody that is coming into the chat. They have joined us because you know why they've joined us is because they recognize that WrestleMania season is indeed a holiday. It's an unofficial holiday for wrestling fans around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Why? It's because this is what we wait for. This is the ultimate culmination of a year of professional wrestling. But this year has been slightly different. There's been a lot of things that have changed, a lot of things that have kind of descended upon us. And today we're going to discuss, explain, and get into a few things in regards to WrestleMania. But we're going to have some fun on this show. This is going to be a true feel-good moment. But before we have fun, we've got some business to take care of. So welcome to the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, you can watch our flagship show, The Wrestling Wrealm, and other shows anytime on youtube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm, where myself, the real Dwayne Allen, Brian H. Waters, Brother Hugh, and Brandon, the guy, explore many different topics and try to educate and give fans a different perspective on the many different aspects of professional wrestling. I am your host, yours truly, the realness himself, the real Dwayne Allen. He is your host. Brother Hugh has the third H to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R to the D. And he is, last but not least, the heart and soul of the brand, the Jack Daddy himself, Brian H. Waters. Follow us on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Wrestling Wrealm. Remember, it's spelled with 2 W's, Wrestling and Realm, 2 W's. Like, subscribe, and engage in the conversation with us. You can also stream and download all of our audio content on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Pocket Cast, Overcast, Pandora, and Google Podcasts. See, that's quite a bit, so there's no excuse for you not to listen. You can watch us. You can watch us and subscribe to our Twitch channel. That's right, we're on Twitch at the Wrestling Wrealm. If you want to support us and be a part of the Wrestling Wrealm, show that you're a proud wrestling fan, or you're just a supporter of the brand, you can shop at WrestlingWrealm.com. That's right, our merchandise store. It is home to all of our famous t-shirts. We have so much in store. We just dropped a few things for the fall and the winter of 22. It's still spilling over, but it's going to be readily available. If you don't know what I'm referring to, I'm referring to these. That's right. If you're watching,
Mine on the way, baby.
You're seeing one of our latest designs for the Wrestling Wrealm. One of my favorite designs we put together, but also available at shop WrestlingWrealm.com. It's not shop Wrestling Wrealm, it's just WrestlingWrealm.com, but you can shop at WrestlingWrealm.com. Now available. That's right. The Jack Daddy himself. The Jack
That's
Daddy
on the way
Brian
too.
Waters is officially a part of WrestlingWrealm.com. So if you want to support Brian H. Waters and his tremendous fitness journey, where he has transformed his body, his mind, his soul, and his overall outlook on life, you can celebrate that by purchasing a t-shirt. And Brian H., you have a special announcement when it comes to people that are buying Jack Daddy Brian H. Waters t-shirts?
Of course, they get a phone call, okay, a nice or voice message, either or, and leaves inspiration.
Hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Brian H. Waters himself, the man, the myth, the legend, will call you and leave your voicemail with some inspiration.
A nobody. That's all.
You're not just a nobody. You're a Jack Daddy. You're looking jacked, man. You're looking jacked. So shop at WrestlingWrealm.com. We have sweatshirts. We have t-shirts. We have hoodies. We have mugs. We have all types of things. So if you want to support the brand and represent superior wrestling intellect, that's the place to do so. WrestlingWrealm.com. Also, subscribe to our Patreon channel. That's right. Patreon.com/wrestling_realm. Once again, it's 2 W's. Wrestling W_W Realm, where you can find all of our exclusive shows, bonus material, and content, including Brian H's thoughts. Brian H has gone into, first of all, Brian has been doing this for a long time, and this is I'm glad he has continued to adapt one of his personal and one of his trademarks, I'll say, to the Patreon account. So definitely subscribe to our Patreon. Also coming soon to Patreon, my new exclusive show, Realness Reacts. We're going to take a deeper dive into some things. Just to take a hint. I'm not even going to say it this time, but if you're watching, if you are curious as to what I'm referring to, you want to see what I'm talking about, head over to youtube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm and check it out for yourself.
Oh, I hyped this up on the fan club earlier.
Oh yeah, I'm sure this is going to raise a few eyebrows. Yes, Realness Reacts. Mercedes Moné versus Sasha Banks. Can Mercedes Moné live up to the hype? Are people going to accept Mercedes Moné the same way they accepted Sasha Banks? We are going to find out, but we're going to discuss that. So much more to come also. Wrestling Figure Wednesdays. I'm writing again. Brian is writing it. It's so much content, so much to come on Patreon.com. So go head over and subscribe to Patreon.com. You can subscribe, for as low as $1 a month.
Just do it, because I mean, you got new stuff coming, like this WrestleMania 2012 story that we got to tell y'all. It's 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 pretty funny, so
Yeah.
y'all not gonna want to miss that.
That's right. That's where all the exclusive shenaniganry will be located. Patreon. First of all, I can't wait to hear this story. I've heard it, but like to hear you guys sit down and kind of like put it in chronological order. This is going to be a fun one.
I'll make it real easy for everybody right now.
Yeah, it's when you're dealing with gumps.
Patreon.com/wrestling_realm. Also, sponsorship alert. If you are looking to purchase tickets to sports, concerts, and much more, guess what? You can use our promo on SeatGeek.com. Promo code Wrestling Wrealm to get $20 off your purchase of $50 or more. And judging by the way tickets cost these days, I don't think you have a problem spending $50 or more on any tickets at SeatGeek.com. Use promo code Wrestling Wrealm. Save yourself $20 off your purchase. That's right, $50 or more. Once again, SeatGeek.com. Promo code Wrestling Wrealm. WRELSTLING. WREALM. Make sure it's 2 W's.
Yep.
Save your money. Shout out to everybody who's been buying too.
That's right. We've had quite a few people to be purchasing.
The fact. I love it when people save money, man. Now I see why Conrad be going so hard in those promos.
I mean, of course, you got to pay the bills. So I think we took care of all the logistics.
Yep.
So this is the part of the show, ladies and gentlemen, where we sit back and we discuss what did we watch this week. Brian, cue up the little soundbite.
Yes, sir. Where is it? Why? I'm looking right at it.
I wonder how many people thought that part you were like what they thought that was stuff. I did not. No, I'm sure they didn't. But yes, each week we always take our time and we consume all types of wrestling throughout the week, not just the normal program that we see on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, Sundays, however you consume your wrestling content. But throughout the week we kind of gauge different products and different things to kind of keep our minds flowing in the right space. So by the time we do our show, we like to discuss what did we watch this week. So, good brothers, what did we watch this week? Anybody want to start first?
I missed Raw. I missed a couple of shows, so I just been catching up on some stuff and just kind of analyzing everything. But I had a conversation with Brandon, the guy. That's that guy, the guy, and he said something about Chad Gable. He said Chad Gable is the new Dolph Ziggler. Mr. Reliable. He's the person. Okay. He's the person that you can put in the ring and make anybody, and then he'll put anybody over. What y'all think about that?
That's funny because that was definitely
he's the workhorse. He's the new workhorse now.
Well, I'm gonna say too, and Brandon's a workhorse. For that take, that was definitely a conversation on the network this week about Chad Gable. Yeah, just on this basically the same thing. I think that to me he's so much like Kurt Angle. But he's just a couple of inches shorter. But I do think for the lack of a better word, this regime is more forgiving in that area. But I think if he was a few inches taller, he would be in the spot of say Seth Rollins or Cody. But I do think like he is, exactly reliable. He's somebody, and the word on the street is Cody wanted to make sure he had a good showing this past Monday. And but Gable's somebody like. I think he has a different type of comedy than Dolph Ziggler. We all know like Dolph Ziggler, I guess you can call him a professional comedian at this point. He do stand-up comedy. But we all know like Gable has like a different type of comedy that, I always thought like, him and Jordan were cool, but I always thought he was the more entertaining one by far. And
of course, everybody thought that.
And it just sticks. He has more charisma. Like he's annoying as hell. He's like a gnat.
He saved that man's career. We know it.
Yeah, I'm glad you caught the oop. But I can understand where Brandon is coming from. But I do think the trajectory is a little bit higher. But then again, it's hard because Dolph Ziggler's a former Dolph Ziggler. It's like I said, it's hard because Ziggler's a world champion.
Well, that's the thing. He's probably one of the most accomplished professional wrestlers to have a lace-up pair of boots.
And I think Gable has that potential, especially because he won't be fighting. There's going to be a lot of battles that Dolph Ziggler fought that Gable isn't going to have to fight, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why I think he can go higher.
I think the issue is he's going to be a victim to WWE's current success.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Dolph Ziggler kind of was becoming Dolph Ziggler and he was having his run, it's not like WWE was climbing. It kind of
sorry. When you say run, what you mean? I just want to make sure we
well, like if you look at the span of his career in terms of the era in which he had his complete level of success, you know what I mean? So start to finish. So say 5-10 year gap. Let's take a 10-year gap. You know, and we're not including Nikki from the Spirit Squad, right?
Right.
When you look at that stretch, it was kind of like a flat surface. WWE was at its level of popularity that it was. It wasn't going higher. It wasn't really going lower. It just kind of stayed where it was, right? Like it was kind of routine. Versus Chad Gable is coming into an era where things are shifting and changing, and a different style of sports entertainment is kind of being presented to us, and the popularity of the business is going up, and it's going up, and it's going up because you look at the records they're breaking, all the financial gains that they're having, all the new gates and merchandise. So now when there's money involved, now you have a responsibility to maintain that new level of money, right? And you know, at the end of the day, sometimes you got to play the hits. So like if Cody Rhodes just gets back, if Seth Rollins is now having this space, if Austin Theory is turning into this thing, like you kind of know where they're headed when it comes to let's create the superstars of tomorrow. And you talking about and you say, okay, well Chad Gable fits right into that. Sure, he does, but you're talking about world champion. We're talking about a time where there was two different world champions. There was a WWE championship, there was a world heavyweight championship, and the world heavyweight championship was kind of used as a starter belt. Right now we're in the middle of a storyline where both those titles are just as active, and we don't even know if they're ever going to have an opportunity to be separated. But then the weight of the title is much stronger than it was before. It's because of how long Roman has held it and the lengths that he has gone to make sure that he maintained those title runs versus, you know, World Heavyweight Championship on Raw, WWE Championship on SmackDown, WWE Championship on Raw, World Heavyweight Championship on SmackDown. You know what I mean? Like it
just
not
made me think of something. Where you just went there?
Yeah.
It took me back to last year's WrestleMania.
Okay.
Who was Chad Gable in the ring with after the match? Gable Stevenson.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I just thought about incorporating what you said and then what Brother Brandon said and Brother Hugh. He's going to be he's probably going to be that guy to get all those NILs, those NIL recruits going.
I guess my biggest question is if he has a trajectory that's far beyond Ziggler. It's like, well, when?
Nah,
when is you know what I mean?
I don't do this too often. I'm a reel back on that one.
So that's the other thing. Talent wise, I agree with you 100%. There's no doubt in my mind. But it's like, whew.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. The structure of the show is different. Your mid card title is the top title on the shows now. You know what I mean? So that means whoever has that title is pretty much closing your show. If your top dog isn't there. So if Lashley's not there or Roman's not making an appearance, Austin Theory is the focus of the show, or the women or Bianca. You know what I mean? Like that's the structure of these shows. It wasn't that way before. If you're a world heavyweight champion, you were the champion. Everything was kind of built around you. You kind of start and finish the show. You know, everybody knew WWE Championship was top title. If John Cena had it, and World Heavyweight Championship was your starter title. Like, okay, we're going to introduce you to the world as a world champion and put you in that conversation so people can begin to associate you with main event caliber talent and money makers. But you're not the guy, though. You know what I mean? That's reserved for whoever beats John Cena at the moment. So it's different, but you know.
Yeah, he's definitely not gonna win any titles or anything like that, or win any like major achievements. But as far as his
at least not right now,
right? As far as his in workability, yeah, he's on the same level as Dolph Ziggler now, and that's a lot coming from me.
Yeah, trust me. The fact that you're saying that, I know it's already stamped, but I'll take it a step further. You know who he also reminds me of?
Who's that?
God rest his blessed soul. Freaking Owen Hart.
Hey, it was. I wanted to ask another question about him, but I want to kind of. I'm thinking about saving it, but hey, we're here now.
I mean, Owen Hart is his. Have you ever watch an Owen Hart match? Just sit there, just watch it.
Owen was great.
His timing and his fluidity in the ring was almost effortless. Like it was better than Brett. It's better than Brett's, if you ask my opinion. Like that's the one thing I always thought that he always had.
That was
over
my
Bret
question.
Hart.
Do you think he should have been pushed more than Brett?
No,
it's. I think Owen Hart was in the same situation.
He could have been pushed. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, but he could have been in that position later on down the line where he could have been pushed as much as Brett.
Absolutely,
and maybe surpassed Brett.
He was Kurt Angle before Kurt Angle, but it was going to be later in his career. You know what I mean? Like if you look at Edge. Look where Edge was a popular act, but he didn't have his Hall of Fame level career until the second half of his career, right?
Everybody was gone.
Yeah, like the same thing with kind of Undertaker. Undertaker was the top guy late in his career. Like he was always a top guy, right? But we know Austin and Rock was the center of the shows, and Triple H eventually, and then Mick Foley eventually, and Taker kind of was there respectfully, right? But Taker wasn't main eventing the WrestleManias until later. Like the second half of his career was more impactful as far as his world title runs than what he did in the first half.
And you really can make an argument that was a third wave, because if you look at the wave of the locker rooms Undertaker went through, this guy shared a locker room with Andre the Giant. Like Andre the Giant kind of like passed down as far as like that locker room leadership. You know, they was in the same locker room at WrestleMania 7, and you know, but he had to deal still with Hogan and all the politics that came with that. Then he had to go through like the Brett and Shawn, the Brett era, the Brett Diesel, Shawn Michaels era, then the Austin Rock era. So again, he didn't get going as far as the main event till Ruthless Aggression.
And he's like, that was, to me, that's where his most meaningful world title, right? He said it, like I felt like when he held the title, it was to hold it over. But then you got to also think about the times in which the business was at. That also had a huge effect on it. Is because during the new generation, you know, you had to you're in the process of coming off a really bad steroid allegation from the owner of one of the largest wrestling conglomerates in the world. And then you have the Attitude Era, where now all the edgy stuff and everybody wants to flip their boss off, and you know what I mean? So you got to go with that, and you're coming off, and not to mention you're competing with a rival franchise, and you know there's no nights off, and he played a vital part of that. Like he's a essential part of it. But you know,
I'll say this though: if you talk about the Owen Hart of the story, right? To Hugh's point, if WWE was a baby face, I mean a heel territory, kind of like structured like the NWA, without a doubt, Owen is a champion in '94. But because it was a baby face territory, you couldn't take the belt off of Brett around that time. You know,
I still think that's too early. I think Owen Hart was going to be Kurt Angle before Kurt Angle. You know what I mean?
You think, but even if
I don't know, Owen was doing his thing at that time too, bro.
But the thing is, so I see where you going, Dwayne. But the thing that always sticks out when I think about Owen is like the transitions, because then after like all his family was gone, there was the Austin era and then the Rock era. So I always thought, like when people say Owen should have been champion, where can you?
I'm telling you, the John Cena era, that mid aggressive. Yeah, I'm talking 99 to like maybe so like I'm talking like maybe like 02 to 06. That
considering
era.
He stays around.
Yeah, considering he stays around like that, that would have, at that point everybody would have been gone. Like, and if he would have stuck around, it would have been his turn. You know what I mean? Like, because think about it, when Rock and Austin kind of called it quits in 2001-2, they hit the reset button and they had to find new young talent. Like at one point, Kurt Angle was the top guy in the company. Like people forget that. Yeah. He'll tell you, like, no, in 2004 and 5, I was the guy. Like Vince said, you're it. Like he was the most paid. He was world champion. I remember those runs. That he's the reason he made me start watching SmackDown again, like during that era of that career. And you know, eventually he came back kind of beefing with John Cena, and then he transitioned out. And I was like, okay, Kurt Angle is the guy. I feel like that could have been Owen Hart's spot.
Okay, if Brock don't leave, that's your Austin Rock. It's Kurt Brock.
Yeah,
like they had a feud, but it could have been spread out longer. Could have been bigger for the history books if Brock Lesnar don't leave.
I mean, look at another Mark Henry. Like, come on now, like he became a main event guy. Like he was always a respected locker room guy. He was always paid like a main eventer, which is why he had some heat early on. But he became like a legitimate main event Hall of Fame talent. Like he capped it off with the latter part of his career. That kind of Hall of Pain run. He came back and he started beefing with Undertaker at WrestleMania. Like when he became that version of Mark Henry, and then
he figured it out.
But it was think about it, how long was he in the business until then? Like that's think about it. Him and Owen were curtain jerking, not curtain jerking, but I don't know how it was established, but he was curtain jerking in 98, 99, just coming in. He's the nation young boy, right? And then look how he finished his career. I feel like during that era, Owen Hart, if he was still with us, I think he would be dominating because he'd be one of the few established brands. He'd be a wrestler's wrestler. Like I say, he just reminds me so much of Kurt Angle. And then, like I said, the part of the way he works in the ring, he can almost work with anybody. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Do you think Vince thought that Mark Henry was going to be Kurt Angle before Kurt Angle when he brought him in?
You said Mark Henry?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah. Of course.
With the whole Olympic background and Kurt didn't want to come, at that time, whatnot. And he saw how athletic he was, how strong he was. He had the look.
10-year contract.
Right. You kind of think he was hoping that he would be on that level at that point in time?
I think he did. Because he came in dressed in an American flag. Anytime you put anybody in red, white, and blue, that's like babyface 101. Make them love America.
Yeah, right? Luger. Yeah.
Lex Luger. We saw it with Sting in WCW at one point. We saw it with Cody Rhodes. Like they've been programming us for years. And Mark Henry was no different. Kurt Angle, when he came in as the American hero, but he had a slight twist to it because he started getting booed because he was too, like, during that era, they weren't.
He was too
looking,
good.
Yeah, they weren't looking for that. They're like, nah, we don't want to see this kind of stuff. But no, Dennis is right though. Owen was entertaining. He had range. He could do so much.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but that's why Gable reminds me of him. He has so much range.
I hate to compare him and Brett, but if you look at it, like skill wise, both of them can go. Brett Owen was more of a high flyer than Brett. He was more technical. He was just as good on the mic.
That's why they had to change the WrestleMania 10 match, because it was going to make Owen into a babyface. In Madison Square Garden, doing Ohio 5 moves, he said in his book, like, he said they sat down and said, we got to change this match, or else you're going to get cheered out of this place.
I don't know. I've always been an Owen fan, but so
that was like when I first started. Dwayne brought up me writing. When I first started writing, Smith Hart was one of the first people, rest in peace, that I talked to. And one of the things he said was, like, I asked when did Brett and Owen learn the sharpshooter, or when did they perfect it? He said, with Brett, it took him a while. He said Owen, the first time he snapped it on, boom, because he said Conan, I believe he said Conan taught Brett. That interview's like somewhere in the waves of the internet, but like all you hear is that Owen was just like flawless.
But they said he was the most natural one. He said he was just that good.
He was the baby. He got everything, all the stuff, and Brett always said, like, that was, his closest brother. Like, when people talk about, like, Brett being bitter about stuff, I'm like, y'all don't know what it's like to lose. Like, he's literally lost everything to this business that he put so much blood, sweat, and tears to, especially his favorite brother.
Yeah, nobody wants to lose that baby brother. Sometimes people take that, you don't take that in consideration because we've heard the story so many times, but certain things you don't ever really get over. You have to move forward, but you don't really move on for these type of things. But
so no, man, he was watching Chad Gable this week.
No, it's obvious, and it clearly it struck a chord. But
that's your new favorite.
Who, me?
Yeah. Do you see him being your new favorite? Like, I ain't trying to be funny. I'm just saying, like, do you see
No, I wouldn't say favorite. I mean, he's
radar. I mean,
Yeah. I like watching his matches. He performs well. So it's like whenever he's in the ring, I don't care who he's in the ring with. He was in the ring with somebody whacked the other day. I don't know. He put him in the ring with Braun Strowman, and he'll have a hell of a match with him. He'll carry that bad boy, or he'll play his position the way he's supposed to play it, and he'll make it look like almost a 5-star match.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's that good to me. But I don't see him progressing to the point where his superstar status is going to get any bigger for certain reasons, because you have free agents that's getting ready to come in. You have big stars in here now. The WWE is more catered to a certain type of wrestler, and it's more about crossover appeal. And Chad Gable doesn't have that.
I wouldn't go
In
that
my
far.
eyes.
No, yet. I'm
No,
waiting to
I'm talking
see.
about. I'm talking about as far as like really benefiting the company. He's not one of the better ones on the roster. You see what I'm saying?
But if it come down, I mean, I it's hard to say right now for me because I don't know how hungry he is, and if he's like that hungry and he goes out there and saying like, no, I want all the media stuff, like that stuff is tiring. Like last year's,
that's what Miz used to do.
Yeah, like exactly. And you know, if we having this conversation about Capri's Miz, we were like, heck no, he'll never be the guy to be on.
That's true.
TV, you know, so it's a lot of stuff like that can happen. But I can understand what you're saying as far as like looking at it right now. But
sure, yeah,
it's just so much stuff that can happen in wrestling.
I just think it needs time. I think eventually, I think when he's like a veteran, like I think that's when he'll get his opportunity, like to kind of make his presence known. But he's still young.
I'm about to say, what is he, like 30?
If even that, honestly, I don't know how old he is, but he's out. But like he's like think about it. He wrestles. Imagine him in 12 years, and he's 42 years old. Like I can see him being a top guy by then. I mean, look at Edge. Like when we saw Edge come in, we didn't think, oh yeah, in 10 years you'll be getting
36. Chad Gable.
Dang.
Okay,
he's born in 86, one of the greatest years ever.
I can see him like wrestling to 46 and probably later than that. Like imagine we'll be in 5-10 years. But Brian, what did you get into this week? Yeah, because this is the layup. I know this is about. But what did you watch this week? No,
my bad. Had that longest discussion.
No. Listen, that's why it's there. We discussed what we watched this week, and
real quick, I want Dennis King, if he don't mind, talk about some puts like some of the stuff he watched from Mid Atlantic and Mid South. Reason why I asked that because like I got like the Mid South DVD, and man, I was sitting there watching it with a cousin not to be named, but I was getting like a legit education of just how it is. And I remember watching some of that stuff, and I'm like, man, I wish I grew up like seeing the Magnum TA and Mr. Wrestling 2 feud and how that was put together. And now it's not going to happen. But like one of the feuds me and Amber Rodriguez was talking about that she was trying to do with Gia Scott, we was trying to like pattern it after that. And so it's like I love looking back at like some of those old gems. So I'm definitely interested to see what the good brother Dennis King was watching. But this week right now I got on WrestleMania 15. So funny story. I was on shout out to Randy Cruz 2 out of 3 Falls podcast. So we were supposed to unpack one of the greatest WrestleManias ever because it is the 30th anniversary, April 4th, 1993. I thought he was about to mute my mic. Wait, it's no action figures.
Like I said, we're in transition. I forgot. I was like, wait, I was rushing to get everything set up.
I was sitting up here playing like the kids' action figures, and like Ariana had like all the women's wrestlers, and I was like, let me set them up real quick. But
I'm about to say, finish your story. You're talking about playing with toys. Finish this dang story.
Hey man, I argued over them enough for the past 6 months. But I got so I'm watching WrestleMania 15. Oh yeah, I was saying we're gonna unpack WrestleMania, the 30th anniversary of one of the greatest WrestleManias on there. But I got WrestleMania 15 up. This is definitely one of my favorites. You talk about the build up. So we were saying the other day, I'm gonna ask y'all this. Didn't WrestleMania seem like it took forever to come when we were little kids? Like, you know how Christmas, as soon as December hit, it felt like it took forever from December 1st to December 25th.
Yeah, but you had a lot going on too.
I was about to say, they used to fit a lot into a wrestling year.
Man, anytime on Raw, you get like
WrestleMania.
You get like 2 or 3 title changes.
Yeah.
Like
it's just like now it seemed like, and I charge it with being an adult that's like gotta like base, whether if I'm going or if I'm watching at home, like getting financial stuff together So it seemed like it sneaks up on you quicker. But as a child, it felt like, man, is it WrestleMania yet? So, but like, and I remember feeling that way about 15. Like it felt like it took the whole spring. And I remember me and Brother Hugh would go to school every day making predictions or talking about, who's gonna win between Stone Cold and The Rock, and being and giving the 8th graders the Stone Cold Stunner and whatnot. So yeah, this is definitely taking me back to 7th grade.
Okay.
Well, listen, you can never go wrong with anything that takes you back to the happy place. And
Yeah.
I know this is if you don't know Brian H, this is a tradition. He I mean he digs deep into WrestleManias during this time of year. Like I said, it's WrestleMania season. It's a holiday for us. But yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you watch WrestleManias at this time? But you know what? I kind of veered off course, brothers.
Okay.
This week I went back. See, last week it was about, who did I watch last week? It was about somebody. It was about Cody Rhodes. I watched old Cody Rhodes stuff last week, right? So this week I decided to watch old Kenny Omega stuff from New Japan.
Oh,
and it's not on the rundown, but I got to get this off my chest. I got to figure this out.
Let's write this time code.
Chime in if you want to, but I'm curious to know what the good brothers think about Kenny Omega's timeline. I was listening to I think like Wrestling Hub or watching on YouTube. They just kind of take like news and dirt sheet stuff and they kind of highlight. It's really easy to consume. You know what I mean? Genius. And Kenny Omega made some comments in regards to his career. I think the title was like, "Oh, Kenny Omega's open to WWE run if whatever the case may be." And there's a few comments that he made in regards to his age, what he has left in the tank, some of the serious injuries that he's had left. And it sounds like he's questioning himself, like, if I don't go, it's either now or never. Kenny Omega's 39. If I sign another 3-year deal, by the time I get to I'll be 42, right?
Yeah.
And you say, well, 42 is not old these days when it comes to wrestling, because look at Bobby Roode, look at AJ Styles, and look at Dolph Ziggler, look at all these studs in their 40s. Bobby Lashley's 46. Look, all these studs that are having these runs, and so 40s is really not. Oh, but when you take into account the style of wrestling that Kenny Omega has done for years and kind of the toll that it's taken on his body and seeing where he is now, I said to myself, like, as I'm watching, because he said, am I selfish for sticking around here because I've accomplished everything I needed to accomplish here? There's nothing left for me to accomplish. Like, do I sit here? Do I create new goals? Where do I go? Do I push myself beyond my limits, or do I stay here? And I was just like, dang, it's kind of got a point. What else is there for him to do in AEW besides stick around and cash a paycheck? There's no real new feuds for you to do. You already gave us all the greatest wrestling matches we can get our hands on between him and Daniel Bryan on the first night that they decided to do such a thing. Right? He's won every title. He's traveled. He's carried the company. He's won. He was a tag team champion. He's a trios champion, and not to mention he's 39. How much time does he have left? How much longer will his body hold up for an opportunity to go to WWE and make a serious impact and kind of add to his career and come out of that 25% of the wrestling audience and be introduced to the 75%. And I said to myself, I didn't realize he was as old as he was. And I was like, man, I don't know if his window is closing or not, but I think Kenny Omega's choice in regards to free agency is going to be a crucial one. Mind you, this is what I'm watching this week. I'm going back and I'm watching stuff, and I'm like, man, he wrestled, he wrestled strong style. He was in New Japan for a long time, and it's a very hard hitting, it's for lack of a better term, it's considered Japanese strong style to the rest of the world because it's so violent, right? It's so striking,
Yes.
and I'm just like, man, and it caused him to take so much time off because by the time he got to AEW, after he, so many lingering and lagging injuries, that man had to take some time off for his body to get right. And he's like, well, I know he can't afford to do that again. So I'm like, is this Kenny Omega's last chance to really make an impact in WWE with the level of popularity that he has? If he signs with AEW, does he what difference will it make? Will it hurt his career? And I was like, I wonder what the brothers think. I mean, what do you guys think? Is it now or never? Is this Kenny Omega's last chance to really make a splash? This may be his last chance to be a big deal if he decides to jump ship to WWE from AEW. Think about it. He's not world champion. He's not coming off a hot run. He's really just coming back from an injury. You know, he got suspended for a fight. He comes back. They recapture the titles, but he's really not doing anything. Like, I didn't even know they were still the trio champions, the elite. And I'm like, well, what is there left for him to do in AEW except put over new talent? But how long are you going to do that? Are you really fulfilled at the age of 39? You're too young to really become to start to look at things that way. But at the same time, you're also old enough to realize how, you know, if you want to tear the roof down, you don't have a lot. You have way more yesterdays than you have tomorrows. So I'm like, man, is this his last chance to jump ship and be a big deal in WWE?
I feel like it is. Because you know, I think about Sting, right?
Oh yeah, the legend.
And no matter which way we look at it, WWE or WWF at the time and WCW was on the same level. And when I mean same level is you didn't always think until WCW started trending downward. Like when WCW was at the height, you ain't think, oh man, Sting need to leave and go to WWE. Why would he? You know what I mean? Because they was the number one. They was the one making the money.
Sure. Yep, that's true. Yep.
But when he was in TNA, that was always the conversation. Okay, is he ever gonna come get that big money? Is he ever gonna get that big moment? AEW, like, what else can he do? Right? Like he said, it's at this point, but he's going to be the most valuable because after a while, you become, if you sign a 3-year deal, then you become a liability more so on the simple fact the way they work stiffer. Or I should say, I'm gonna say the word, for lack of a better word, they work recklessly. So considering where, like, it was the reason why AJ Styles did what he did. He hit that strong style. He came to WWE at the most valuable he ever was.
Exactly.
And Kenny Omega, he's not gonna. I felt like when he just at that time, if he would have came at before, he would have been the most valuable. I'm not sure if AEW added to his value, but I don't think it took away yet.
Okay.
But I feel like now is the time to go because at the end of the day, he still got it. He helped build the company and he got another world championship under his belt. Finally, a world championship in the States. So it's like, okay, he can show he has some drawing power in the United States. But I think it would be now because, like you said, even you think about like some of the other talent that's there. Let's say we talked about Chad Gable. What if Chad Gable supersedes expectations, right?
I was thinking the same thing.
And now you got to think about, okay, are you better than him? Can you go over him? And Dylan is saying, you know, he think Adam Page is more likely. I'm not a big Adam Page guy, but that's another one to think about. What if he goes over? Let's just say he goes before Omega, but then all of a sudden he's at a higher level. Now you're coming over, depending on, hopefully this guy want to still work with you and say, hey, we made magic here. Let's bring magic over here. But I think now is the time because I just don't see his value increasing at this point.
Yeah, the landscape will be drastically different 3 years later. You know what I mean? Especially in wrestling years. What about you, brother Hugh? Is it too late? Is it now or is it never for Kenny Omega and WWE at his highest peak of his value?
Yeah, if he really wants to make an impact, then he would have to do it right now. Yeah, you have to think about all of those things. It's years of just strong style, injuries, and everything. You just got to put all that stuff into consideration. Because what if he goes back to AEW? He's still doing that same style, possibly, with the forbidden doors and whatnot. And like you said, that's another 3 years at least.
Yeah,
at least. And what's AEW? Nope. Like
an alternative.
What is it? Like, is it alternative?
I mean, like, if you don't like the mainstream, you know, there's somewhere else for you to go. So
yeah, you're right. But I mean, like, what else is there for him? So that's why I said before when we had this conversation, come on over, get your WrestleMania moment while you can enjoy it and while you can perform. And it's good now because I feel like you have guys like Jay White coming over, possibly
that are younger.
You still have cats like AJ Styles who's coming back, possibly.
Established brand.
Yes. Yep. You can have those dream matches and Finn Balor's, the whole Bullet Club, whatever you want to call it. Make that stuff happen.
Yeah.
And honestly, WWE is going to protect you better than what AEW has.
Oh, you're not lying about that one.
You know what I'm saying? There's no way in that Triple H is going to let you go out there every day and wrestle. Nah, you're going to work that part-time schedule because you're a big name dude. You put your work in.
But also, they also have other established brands that can carry a show, unlike AEW. AEW has like 3 established brands, and everybody else just has to get in where they fit in. And I'm like, dude, like you got to build your money makers at some point. They don't all got to be world champions, but god dang, take some notes from Eric Bischoff. But
yeah,
I just
want problem. They won't.
Well, hey, look, man, it's far beyond my pay grade. And Tony Khan, as he said, he's got plenty of it. I've got a lot of money. And
got a lot of money. What's his name? Prince Flea Swallow.
Wow.
Who? What?
Prince, I mentioned him before, man.
I don't be knowing these people.
The rapper.
Oh yeah.
My man talk about money, money, money is all you need. Singing at the flea market. The rapper.
Sponsored by PlayStation.
Right.
Yo.
You don't remember the sponsored by PlayStation?
Yes, sir.
Right. PlayStation.
It's always sponsored PlayStation. Sponsored by PlayStation and JVC Kaboom Box. But that's okay. We can go back in time. But speaking of going back in time, brothers, we have new women's tag team champions this past Monday. And there's the bell for the show to start. Technically, it's like even though we've been here for an hour, we have new tag team champions and Lita and Becky Lynch. Wow! First and foremost, what you guys think of? First of all, this tag team, and then we got a guest appearance from Brian H's lovely favorite wrestler in Trish Stratus.
Ever tell you she like responded to one of my tags on Instagram? Like, no, correction. She tagged me on Instagram and I said thank you, and she responded.
Do you hear how pressed you are in what you just said? Do you hear yourself?
Let me have my moment.
My fault. You're right. I should have did that. I was wrong. I should let you have your moment. That's on me. But we saw Trish Stratus.
I let you have your moment with Aisha Taylor. No, that wasn't her name. Wow. From the Yellow Power Ranger.
You called her Aisha Taylor. Like, what's her real name?
I forgot her real name. What's her
Karen
real
Ashley?
Name, yeah,
Karen Ashley.
Yeah.
The first time I ever see you mark out, I let you have your moment, and he just shamed me for my Trish Stratus moment.
In all fairness, if you met Trish Stratus in person, I wouldn't say anything to you.
Well, I walked past her last year.
I mean, you didn't speak
at WrestleMania. Well, I mean, she was talking to Bailey. I wasn't going to interrupt that conversation. Plus, I had to hurry up and get back out to the front.
Well, yeah. There you go.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, he will walk right past you, just like he walked right past me when that dude had me hemmed up in the bathroom talking about I don't know what he was talking about.
He had you hemmed up. He was just talking.
Oh snap, bro!
Yeah, I was watching,
man, bro.
We the road trip.
Yo, we was on the road, yo, and we were on our way to.
That was his uncle, Black
I don't know what he was talking about,
bro.
That was your uncle, bro.
I walked past brother. You like I didn't even know him, so he wouldn't even look at me.
I looked dead in his face, and he
messed up, brother. You made eye contact, bro. So
Megan would say, "You gotta come talk to me, face."
Man, so listen, quick story. So we're on our way to Black WrestleFest, the first one. We stop at a one of those rest stops. Just use the bathroom, change our clothes because we didn't want to be kind of sweaty. It was a hot day in summertime, right? So we go to the bathroom. There's this dude in there. He's just like he's ranting and raving about something. And he's hollering the script, and I'm not paying any mind. I walk past it because I know better. You don't look people like that in the eye because that as soon as you make eye contact, they think you're interested in what they're talking about. So I walk in there, I use the bathroom, and all of a sudden I walk out, I see Brother Hugh stuck. This guy just talking to him, and I don't know what he was talking. He kept calling him nephew. I was like, and I saw Brother Hugh, and Brother Hugh's such a good soldier because I looked at him and he didn't look at me, and I just kept on like I didn't see him. I was like, nope. I said, dang, Brother Hugh, like if that was me, and I saw Brother Hugh, I'd have pulled him in. I'm guilty of it. Brother, he just sat there. He was like, "Yeah, I feel you." And then we went out, and then we left out. I said, "Man, brother, he hemmed up in the bathroom. Man, some dude won't stop talking to us." And then the dude was outside, like detailing his car with all the doors open and the music blasting. I said, "Yo,
big speakers, man."
I was like, "Man, Brother Hugh, man, sorry, I just had to tell that story. Like, you run into strange cookies on the way to New York.
You a gump for that one."
I did. I saw. I took that out because I walked out. I said, "Dang, I left him hanging too." I said, "I didn't even say nothing." I didn't say, "Bro, we got to get ready to go." Nothing. I just walked right past like I didn't know him because that dude, he looked, no, he was jacked too. He was. You talk about jack? He was
Right, like
he was in a white, all black white beater, just, and then he was outside bumping his music and detailing his car. I said, "What in the world is going on at this rest stop?" But like I said, Lita and Becky Lynch become the new women's tag team champions. Now we know that there were no women's tag team championships during the time of Lita and Trish Stratus.
Yep.
And the business has come a long way in regards to how the women are treated when it comes to their performances and the opportunities that they have to perform. I couldn't have been more than happy to, first and foremost, see Lita back. She looks amazing. And for her to go in there and kind of have a dream match of sorts and to win the women's tag team champions and to be a part of history going forward to help kind of establish how important those titles are, because you have a Hall of Famer that carries that title now. And of course, Becky Lynch, you know, is, if not the hottest act on the card, the man herself. Like, it's a match made in heaven. How did you guys respond to see a blast from the past kind of take the reins and become women's tag team champions? Now, I know there's some people out there that goes, "Oh, that makes no sense. Young girls, this, that, and the third." Yeah, but we all kind of know better, where it's like, what good is it to put a young face with a championship and nobody cares about why the championship is important in the first place? Makes sense? We know it's women's tag team wrestling, but once the women are established, you're not going to be treated separately. You're going to be treated as equals. So at that point, you still have to make those titles important. And I think that Lita and Becky Lynch holding those titles right now, especially going into WrestleMania, is huge and important, also well-deserving. Brian H., your 2 cents.
Man, I mean, I was excited. I thought that you know, take you back. Remember when Roddy Piper and Ric Flair won the tag team championships, right? And people was like, you know, and it was a big deal for them. And like you brought it up, these titles wasn't around for Lita. I wonder the Trish Stratus of it all.
Okay.
Because this is going to get very interesting. If you notice something, Trish is in the center of the photos. She's in the center of the photo shoot. Why? And maybe because I just watched WrestleMania 20. And
see, you're not looking at this for proper judgment. You've been tainted by WrestleMania footage.
Because that's when she switched up on us, made that heel turn. You think
Trish Stratus is going to be making heel turns in 50? Or how old she is?
Look, these ladies could be. I could see a scenario where you have them have. I don't want to call it a mega run, but kind of like Edge, like where we're going to see more of Trish and Lita than we've ever seen them before, just because of the direction women's wrestling is going.
Really?
So she could. Who knows? Her and Bailey could be plotting something.
You know what? She has been they've been teasing her and Bailey for a while. And now that you mentioned it, it's starting to make sense to me because of how much young women's talent they have right now. We saw it at the Rumble. It's just, Triple H, he's not playing any games. There's an influx of so much. Like most people were annoyed with the women's Rumble because of all the unfamiliar faces. But that feeling of annoyance only lasts for a moment, because the ones in the ring are going to be the ones that's going to be main eventing your show 5, 6, 7 years down the line. But that ugly moment has to happen. That first exposure where it's like, okay, well, I don't want to see anybody new, but you got to see them long enough where they're not new anymore. And I don't know, Brian, you might be onto something. They need established talent. Like they need those brands. Like Lita is a brand, Trish Stratus is a brand, Hall of Famers.
Exactly.
To work with these young girls.
What was Flair doing? You know,
and young talent.
Exactly. And in Trish Stratus' case, her kid's a little bit older, so look at Beth Phoenix. Kid's a little bit older. They can kind of, get out there and get these, because now they're finally getting treated. And see, this is kind of like a second opportunity, right? Because, in Beth Phoenix's case, we never got the dream match. The dream match we wanted was her and Karma at the time, because Beth Phoenix was coming around. She was being like that dominant women's wrestler.
She was the one wrestler that actually wrestled.
The one wrestler,
like she was actually featured.
Yeah, and and we never got really an opportunity to get her and Natty in a big program. And Karma came, and it felt like we was on our way to the collision course, but then Karma got pregnant. But with Trish and Lita's case, they was having matches, but it wasn't like, once they got to really wrestle, it still wasn't respected the way it could have been. So now
it was a big deal for them to main event versus now women's main event all the time.
Exactly. You know, let Alundra Blaze tell it. She main evented Raw first. It's just that her segment didn't close the show. It ended with a interview with like Bret Hart. But you look at all this. Here's an opportunity for these ladies to kind of get another run at it without the necessarily demands of a full-time schedule. So I'm all for them winning the tag titles. The biggest issue I have with the tag titles is I just wish they didn't create the NXT women's tag titles, just because when Sasha and Bayley, the way it was presented when those titles would first debut, that they would go everywhere. And that's what Sasha and Bayley did, you know, so because like you're already having this issue right now of a tag division, just run, you know, but then again, you know, scheduling. So, but overall, I'm excited about this and I want to see what happens. So many different ways. So this story is going to be so much more interesting because now you're wondering how does this play out. And Bayley did say, she said in her latest interview, Damage Control not necessarily finished. And I love what she said that when she kept bringing this to Triple H, it was like Triple H said, okay, why you want a stable? What is this? What's the purpose? This is what DX was. This is what NWO was. This was our reason. What's your reason? And you know, they finally got it. So now she said, you know, she got her eye on somebody else. We don't know who it's going to be. She said she wouldn't tell just in case. So it's a lot of ways they can go with this.
Interesting. Brother Hugh, how did you feel about Lita and Becky Lynch becoming the new women's tag team champions?
I'm just here to be stratified.
Oh, okay. So you just skipped over the mat. You so enamored with Trish Stratus making an appearance. Don't get me wrong, I was too. Goodness gracious, she looks amazing. So that answer suffice. Like,
did y'all peep Bailey's? Did y'all peep Bailey's gear?
Nah, I wouldn't pay attention that much.
No, I was about to say I felt it was different for some reason, but I didn't. You know,
she was dressed like a Hardy Boy.
See, I knew it was something because I seen the baggy pants and the fishnets, and I was like, you know, I didn't pay it any mind, but I had a feeling it was something.
I mean, I'm not mad at it. I mean, it's a good opportunity to make those titles mean something. It looks like they're actually going to put some, you know, attention into it and really try to work and make something happen. Make those titles, you know, prestigious.
I say make them stronger. Yeah,
right. Yeah. So like because
some gorgeous belts. I like them.
They are. Damage Control had them for how long? And they only like
defended them like twice.
Yeah, I forgot who the tag team champions were after a while.
I mean, that's kind of what you run into. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But no. That's exactly what Sasha and Naomi wanted. They wanted some attention on that.
Reportedly.
Yeah. So, you know, like, it's just good to see that there's now some attention put towards bettering that situation, bettering that division. As far as Lita, the legend is coming back.
Yeah,
it is just to piggyback off of Brian. Like, this is that opportunity to come back and actually wrestle,
right?
Because during the Attitude Era, they were still treated as sex objects.
Yeah,
and it was only those two girls, really. I'll say four because you got Jackie and Ivory too.
Yeah, Molly Holly.
They could really go in the ring and put it down.
Don't forget Victoria.
But that actually got that time.
That's also true. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's
James.
So
Mickey kind of took that, but you're absolutely right. It definitely was like Lita and Trish. Like if there was ever like, you know.
Yeah. So like it's just good to see them being able to come up and set up those dream matches. That's what it's about nowadays. Bayley is probably wilding out right now because she's about to fight Trish Stratus at WrestleMania.
I mean, wouldn't that'd be tough though? Like I think they should. I mean, it's a feel good moment that they get to reap the benefits for the road that they pave for for these ladies to perform on a level that they're performing at, man. So
why not? I tell you one thing, man. It's so hard to look at old school wrestling, man, like Attitude Era wrestling for women and what's the other era? Ruthless Aggression.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Like I can't even do it, bro. Like, you know how I am. Coming up, I'm a big advocate for women's sports in general.
Oh yeah,
coming from women's football, tackle football. We ain't
I
talking about no lingerie.
If anybody knows, or if anybody would question, you would, because I know that's got to be tough. Like you see the ins and outs of women trying to play tackle football and trying to establish that as just a thing first and foremost.
They paying to play.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you got all these women out there that are putting their lives on the line to, like, for what they're really truly passionate about. So if people don't know that about you, trust me, brother, he has been an advocate for women's sports for a long, long time. Like, it's proven, documented, signed, sealed, delivered.
Football, baseball, everything. Like,
legends sign off on them too, like Amy Lee and Mercedes Martinez and Deonna Purrazzo and Britt Baker. Gotta put some respect on Brother Hugh's name.
Yeah. But it's amazing to see that they're getting this attention now, and they're able to come back to the division and possibly get some good matches in on a part-time schedule. They still look good. They still can wrestle. Still go out there and go. Why not do it?
Yeah.
Throw me the money. I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Throw me the money. Absolutely. I'll show up every once in a while and wrestle somebody. That's all right. That's nothing.
Business is business, and I think they made a very good business move, especially going to WrestleMania. But like I said, once again, shout out to Lita and Becky Lynch becoming the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Well deserved. And I'm excited to see how they help continue to establish other women's talent going into WrestleMania, or especially just with those titles, whether it's short term, whether it's long term. But speaking of WrestleMania, there's been a lot of buzz. I'm scared to even mention the situation because every time I do, is a glitch in the system, some goddamn way, like we in the Matrix.
Bruh.
We're getting Omos versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. This is WrestleMania season, and we're supposed to be celebrating. Now, a lot of people are butthurt, a lot of people are pissed, but there was a certain individual on Twitter that made a comment, and I said, this guy gets it. I said, he understands what this is about. Because I'm like, man, you got to see through this. Like, come on. There's no way in the world that it just blatantly just saying, okay, we're going to get Omos and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. There's a lot of nuggets to this. And I'm like, well, why? What's the point? MVP kind of made his case, but it seemed kind of random. And people like, I'm just going to say it before the Wi-Fi goes out again. People like, Vince McMahon has something to do with this. I said it. So if I go out, brothers, just keep going. Because every time I mention his name, something goes wrong. Right.
I swear we're not making this up.
I'm telling you, I swear to goodness, on the record, if something goes out and I just stop talking, you know what it is.
He gets stuck in that same position.
I just be like this. like we doing a freeze frame for a sitcom.
He gonna say, he'd probably be like, why you just invite me on the show?
I mean, look, he's a little too hot to touch right now. But what do you guys? How do you feel about the rumors that Vince is involved with Brock versus Omos, simply because it seems like a big meaty match? You know what I mean? Like, okay, we're gonna take
meaty, sweaty men smacking meat.
Big meaty men slapping meat. You know what I mean? Oh. There's a specific reason why I believe this is, because somebody has alluded to it already, and I agree with them. But I'm gonna ask the good brothers on the record, Brother Hugh, big meaty men slapping meat.
We need more beef.
Omos versus Brock Lesnar. Were you as upset as everybody else, or disappointed when you heard about this big name Brock Lesnar all of a sudden working with relatively a fresh face in Omos?
I wasn't disappointed. I was just surprised. I was just caught off guard. Like, okay, all right.
It seemed random. Tell everybody why you were caught off guard. Why it seemed so random to you
at WrestleMania, though. Like WrestleMania,
yeah, like that's an elimination chamber match. Like,
right? Yeah, like WrestleMania. You sure? Nah, because the way the whole Bobby and Brock thing ended, it just seemed like it wasn't done.
It didn't. No, it clearly wasn't. It's definitely a to be continued on it.
Yeah, and then you have no idea what's going on with what's his face, Muscle Man, Bray
Wyatt and Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley.
That comes completely from out of left field. Like what's that? I don't know.
Not to mention Bobby Lashley is still mentioning Brock Lesnar. Like he's still mentioning him. Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. So it kind of, I'm kind of thinking somehow, some way they're going to flip it and the Hurt Business is coming back.
You didn't give Brian H a chance.
Yeah, my bad.
It's
My
okay
bad.
though. Brian
But
H.
Man, it's good. It's cool. You know, I
Nah.
don't hate it.
He spilled the pork and beans.
He
I
did.
ain't gonna go into depth. I'm gonna let you take that, but that's what I feel like.
He had to get his in.
And then
Stuff in.
as far as it being a VMAC call, it's
He doesn't want to say his name. It's like Candyman. Is that the one where you can't say his name 3 times in a prayer? Just don't say Vin Man's name 3 times, or the Wi-Fi is gonna go out, or glitch or something in the system. I swear, if I go out, I'm not signing back on. Just close the show out, call it a day.
I think people just want something to talk about, so they just keep making up these rumors talking about, oh, it's this type of just let it rock. You know, right. I think he might talk to Triple H about some things, this and that, whatever. But at the end of the day, Triple H is making the final decision.
There you go.
You know, so
my game now, Daddy.
Yeah, like it's my time. You know?
Right. Brian H, what's your take? What's your take on the situation? Because this caused quite a bit of a stir in the community.
Shout out to Morgan State, and I was at Walmart too the other day. Mm-hmm. I almost bought. I almost bought an almost action figure.
As soon as he said Walmart, I knew this story was about it. Was he going to say? Wait, was it elite or was it a basic?
No, it was a basic. It was like $10.
Okay.
They didn't have the elites.
I need that elite, but I haven't seen it in the stores yet. But Brian,
all the elites are gone. Like it was.
Empty. Which Walmart did you go to?
Out here in Hanover.
Okay.
Small.
Okay. Listen, the one out in Randallstown, they get all the action figures for everybody else. But that's just a tidbit for the community. For the community. Brian H. Mm-hmm. Where were you when all the controversy kind of stirred up? First we heard rumors, right? We heard rumors, and then they kind of made official, and everybody's kind of in an uproar.
So it's funny because last week I was summoned to talk about this.
The rumors.
Right. I was like, dang, you go to court? What the heck?
Well, no. So what happened? Kaz had to leave, so they was like, "Hey, stick around. Let's talk." Cool. So I brought it up, and I said, "If this happens," I said, "Well, I'm excited because Omos going to continue building his WrestleMania resume. New Day, the first year, him and AJ win the tag titles. The next year, he gets Bobby Lashley. Like you look at the Undertaker, right? First it was Jimmy Snuka, then it was Jake the Snake."
Good point. Excellent point. Yep.
Yeah, and then it was John Gonzalez. but then King Kong Bundy.
At what WrestleMania was that? When he fought John Gonzalez?
9.
Oh, okay.
In the semi-main event.
Man, that was bad.
But you know, he's building his WrestleMania resume, and I said, Omos is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I said, now Brock Lesnar. So they make the match, and I said, you know what? I'm interested in it because Brock now is giving a young guy the rub. Win, lose, or draw. The fact that he's in the ring with Brock Lesnar.
There you go.
And I said this. I said to all the black people that get upset about black wrestlers not getting a chance and whatnot, Omos is getting a chance with Brock Lesnar. What do you want?
That's why I don't have those conversations with these pseudo black folks because they never satisfied, man.
So it's like people said, and now here's the point that nobody brought up, and I was waiting for somebody to bring it up, and Dylan Matthews just did.
Uh-oh.
It's well known that Vince books Brock's matches. You want to say no to Brock. And where I was going to go with that is my whole thought was we know there's a comfort level of Brock and Vince. That's why it was reported that Brock left. Well, Triple H confirmed it that Brock left out that day because he's like, oh, heck no. And then he did show back up, but it was like almost like his anxiety did something. Like,
sure, yeah.
Because it was a shock.
Yeah, of course.
But there's a comfort. You know, he said it's like a father figure to him. You know what I mean? You can cuss the man out and throw the belt and you still be champion. Like, what else can you do that?
We saw the footage.
That's some family stuff, right? But I'm like, okay, I don't think he necessarily booked the match. Now, here's what I did read today. If we're going to talk about the sheets.
Here we go. Talk about the sheets.
Brock Lesnar actually nixed the match that they wanted to put him in with Bray Wyatt. They said reportedly he nixed the match with Bray Wyatt. And I was like, so now what are y'all going to say? Because obviously he signed off on this one. Now, for ours, we know they might card subject to change. So that could even bring up Brother Hugh's point of somehow or another we get the Hurt Business. Remember last year, 2 years ago, the first time Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns won, that match was originally supposed to be Roman Reigns and I'm about to say Paul Pierce, Adam Pierce.
Wow.
Card subject to change. Remember, they changed it. As far as we know, they could do the same thing. I'm here for the ride because guess what? I'm getting MVP and Brock Lesnar drinking in the ring on Monday night. That is entertaining. Because when you get Brock Lesnar and he start grabbing the mic like this, and he got the ponytail. Ponytail Brock is the man.
He's my favorite version of Brock Lesnar. Ponytail Brock.
By a long shot.
Like, where's this guy been all this time?
He's it was done by a dare.
Yeah. Like just him and his kids say, I bet you want to go ponytail. He said, I bet you I will.
So this is good. I'm here for it. Because at the end of the day, even the aesthetic of it, right? I mean, just look at it on the poster. Brock Lesnar, Omos. Omos becomes a bigger deal. Now, what I want to see is, is he going to rap again? Last year, we got to see this dude rap at Wale Mania. I want to see if he's going to do it again, you know? But them two at WrestleMania, that's what it's for. Like, we don't need to see Brock in a title picture. Sure, we would have loved to see him versus Gunther, right? I think there's a bigger story there. You can hold that match if you're not doing Gunther and Roman Reigns over in at Money in the Bank. If let's say Roman doesn't hold the title that long, I mean, I hope you do. You could do Brock and Gunther over there. That's a big deal for Gunther's people,
right?
In overseas, man. You know, I mean, tickets already sold out, but the aesthetics of that, even SummerSlam in Detroit. So it's so many ways, but I'm here for this Brock Lesnar. I'm here for Brock and Omos.
Honestly, I don't even think it's really about the match. You know, if we all know Brock Lesnar as we do, he's never really about the match. He's more about the moment. Right?
He's gonna be better than him and Moxley. I mean, or Ambrose.
Yeah, I mean, but this is, Brock's not like, his thing is he's all about the psychology of it all, right? And if the moment itself kind of furthers along the story in regards to where they're going, I think he cares more about that than, okay, now I want to have my 25-minute match at WrestleMania because this is, I don't think it's on that level. And don't get me wrong, I was shocked too. I was like, really? We're going to do this? Like, why are you doing Brock versus Omos? But after a while, I was like, this has a lot of Hurt Business written all over it. And I think if it doesn't happen at WrestleMania, it's going to push that story further along, where now they're going to be like, hey, man, we have a common enemy, or, whatever it may be, however MVP wants to kind of, spin it. You know what I mean? Like the reuniting of the Hurt Business can be a big deal at WrestleMania. You know what I mean?
Oh, see,
like, and it's not about payoff. It's not about the match. It's about the moment. It's like, okay, the matches distract you from the moment. So, like on the card, it's at WrestleMania. It's not Brock Lesnar versus Omos versus Brock Lesnar. That's the marquee. No, the marquee is, oh yeah, by the way, we're reuniting the Hurt Business, and this is how we're going to go about it. So it's kind of introduced in disguise in a match, but it's going to turn to something else. Like I said, card is always subject to change. How many times have we walked in or watched wrestling where, somebody's made an announcement and said, hey, by the way, I know originally we said this was going to be a fatal four-way, but guess what? Now it's a fatal. You know what I mean? You never know. So, even though, of course, wrestling fans always overreact, and I think we're mature enough now to be in a space to know, one, you can't trust Triple H, and I think they're doing certain things on purpose to kind of, to keep us away from what they're actually doing, because this is Triple H's first WrestleMania. So, from start to finish, and I think he's plans on making a statement, and I think it's a different statement. Like he hasn't been making the same statements as everybody else. They've been rather different, but just as we kind of wrap this up, man, this is what does the WrestleMania season mean to you guys personally? Like this is where we kind of peel back the layers a little bit. We get a little personal, right? Because WrestleMania is a special time for us as wrestling fans, for us families to come together and enjoy the show. Fans come from all around the world to participate, to be a part of the show, no matter where they sit, no matter where they are. This is something it's a global phenomenon that nothing compares to it. No sporting event even comes close to WrestleMania every year. But this is the season that we kind of reminisce on old WrestleManias. We reminisce on the moments we had as kids watching WrestleMania. We reminisce on some of the moments we had as adults, and I'm looking forward to you guys reminiscing to the entire trip that you guys had. But that's a different conversation for a different day. But Brian, you're the king of wrestling. What does WrestleMania season mean to you? And just let me know, let everybody know. What are you looking forward to, man, this year? This is like a month long. We're about a month out. Like at this point, we're a month away, man. And we get excited for this like it's Christmas time. And this is where the foundation of our content is kind of built on. So it's like, what does WrestleMania season mean to you? Why is it special to you? And what are you just looking forward to this year?
Oh man, so it's for me, always takes me back to growing up. My one vivid memory, I have quite a few memories of my grandfather, but the vivid memory of WrestleMania 6, it just takes me back to that happy place of being in the car with him, hearing him discuss with the deacons on what was to come, which was the Hogan Warrior, and he described the crisscross, and then going into like WrestleMania 8. That was like the first time that I remember my uncle had like recorded and gave me a copy of the tape. And for whatever reason, the copy I had only had the last 3 matches, but I like watched it over and over again. And with 9 being, and this is why I tell people, I said, the reason why nobody will never, ever be able to sway me off WrestleMania 9 is because I've always put myself back in that 6-year-old whose parents finally ordered. Well, this is the first, that was the first year we had cable, and that was the first WrestleMania that we ordered, and to be able to watch that just takes me back to that day. Even the moment of, I remember when Hogan came out after Brett, lost the title. And even there was times when I was like, I ain't gonna go through all of them, but like the next year when my cousin came over, he didn't come over all the time, but I'm like, well, you don't watch wrestling? No, I don't watch it. All right, well, you go in my room and play the game by yourself because WrestleMania 10 on. And even as an adult, it was always like, all right, don't ask me to do it. In high school, I'm having to rush home from church. All right, I did everything I'm supposed to do. Now I'm watching WrestleMania as an adult. Like, don't ask me to do nothing on the weekend because that's what I want to do. And so for like me and brother Hugh to like grow up and always talking wrestling, for us to be able to experience WrestleMania 28 together in person, it was like, man, this was amazing. And even though the trip was great, I'm not gonna act like it wasn't, but it was very eventful. But it didn't matter, and being able to connect with our brothers Corey, Glenn, and Doc, and for them to like, and it was just like that moment, like and like brother Corey, somebody who goes like the WrestleMania every year, and it never gets old,
right?
And I can always like remember when I look at the video, like, okay, what was I doing in life at the time, or what was going on?
Yeah,
whether I was celebrating or escaping from, what made last year so much special because it's the first time I was working, and then getting down there and finding out that there was an opportunity to produce backstage, and I'm like, wait, what? And I almost flicked on the moment. The real Dwayne Allen was like, I had one of those moments.
You're welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And shout out to Jonathan Kermer, who was like, all right, bro, you got it. It was like that. You ever seen the episode of Cosby Show with Dance Mania? And
Yep. With Cockroach,
it was one of those.
Like,
it was,
you got this? You going in? Is it me? Is it you?
Right.
All right, man, you got it, man. Do your thing.
And so, for us to be able, for that to happen, but like last year, being backstage, looking around like, yo, this is like, it's like being on a Total Divas set.
Backstage at WrestleMania, man.
Yeah. So, and this year I'm really excited because, I'm going in as a host. Like last week, it was like, well, Brian, now I can't call you producer because you're on air talent now. It's like, wow, he really just said that. So going in as, talent and seeing what we're going to get to do and, just kind of, taking a look at things. So it's work, but it's fun work, and I'm definitely excited about it. Definitely excited to see what happens. But it's always good to be able to talk about it with my brothers. We sit back and relax and go back. Like you said, the content. I mean, we did. If you go on our YouTube channel, there's a whole WrestleMania playlist, and part of those there's some episodes from season 2 that we gave our top 5 WrestleManias. And it's funny, like when I watch it now, because it's like the stuff still stands, right? Like I remember we had a whole conversation and realized, like, WrestleMania 19 is like in my favorites. And I broke, and you was like, "Yo, I forgot like how good this WrestleMania was."
I remember it vividly, like it's clear as day. Having that conversation,
and for me, when you broke down 14, so it's always cool to be able to go back and do stuff like that, So, this is touring season, going on the WrestleMania tour. Shout out to everybody for all the invites. Lyndon hit me up today or yesterday, so I'll be on the radio early Monday morning,
bro. I'm still trying to reschedule Lyndon. Like it's like 5 or 6 times now.
I get it. So I'm excited. As Sable and Tori are on my screen right now.
So there it is. So, like, just even at this age, after all this time, they still find a way to distract a good brother. Brother Hugh.
This WrestleMania Hugh tried to say Sable. He ain't think Sable was all that.
Nah, he crazy.
She
right. You ain't say that in 7th grade.
Definitely, you say it in 7th grade.
He's scared of Brock. That's all.
Oh yeah, he don't want no smoke. WrestleMania season, Brother Hugh. What does it mean to you, man? This is a holiday for us, man. And what are you looking forward to, man? What are some of your favorite WrestleMania moments, man, during this time of year as a wrestling fan?
I'm just looking forward to seeing what's next for me and for the brand. Honestly, it's like every year we have evolved into something different.
Yeah,
especially during this time.
Yep,
our content
reset button.
Yeah, whether it's just content or whether it's just us kicking it at somebody's basement, watching the show together and just analyzing everything.
Yeah,
like we just have so much fun together, and like it's just WrestleMania time, WrestleMania season. It's not like you said. It's not like any other sporting event. It's not like the NBA Finals or the World Series. Yeah, you have your moments there, but to me, it's more about championships and the outcome of the game or the series when it comes to the sports aspect of it.
Right.
But when it comes to WrestleMania, it's more about moments.
Absolutely, man.
You see, and it's like that's what I enjoy about it. Like there's things that happen today. Like every time I hear CM Punk's song, first thing I think about is the dudes fighting in the street in Miami.
The Clevelander.
Yeah, like
it was wrestling because you make it seem like it was a fight.
Well, whatever. Yeah, but like it's just little things like that stick with you, and and for someone like me who I'm
just go, man.
Just coming from
just
Baltimore,
go, man.
just coming from Baltimore, like we didn't do nothing. We weren't used to just getting up and going and leaving Baltimore. Baltimore was it. It was the end all be all for the majority of us.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is. Yeah.
So it's like this opens up a lot of opportunities for me to go out here and network and just see the world a little bit. And I got to thank y'all 2 brothers. Well, 3 brothers, Brandon, D Guy, for putting me in the position now where I am. And just kind of holding my hand, taking me along on a ride with y'all. So salute to y'all. And just that's all I'm looking for. Just enjoying it. I'm sitting here just enjoying everything right now. I talk
man,
all day, but it is what it is. That's what I do.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. WrestleMania season is just like it's just one of those things where it's hard to describe what it means to one individual because everybody has their own. Like one event can affect so many different people in so many different ways, and there's this kind of common ground between those that love these moments this time of year,
Mhm.
and just like I just kind of got like this sense of euphoria, just hearing both of you guys just talk about this. It sends me to such a happy place, right? And you're just like, yeah, man. I was just sitting there like, man, these guys are right. That's everything you guys were saying. It resonated with me personally because that's just what it is. This is our Super Bowl. This is our World Series, and I say that lightly because these are the biggest sporting events that we can compare to here in the United States. And it brings back all these feelings of just, like I said, being with you brothers, and just it brings back all like the struggle years, everything. You begin to have a different appreciation for it, and for us to be at the space that we're in as far as the twilight of our lives, not the twilight of lives, but where we are as far as right now. It's like, man, we can be in the same space and still enjoy it on the same level. That's the part probably I'm looking forward to the most. You know what I mean? Just enjoying the show from start to finish, being surprised, going into it with an open mind, and just, being ready to enjoy, what they set up for us, and watch Triple H kind of, take the reins and do WrestleMania his way. I'm looking forward to seeing how he decides to, set this show up and put it on display, and just to see how the fans react to it, how I react to it, and how we react to it as a brand. So, like I said, it's as sentimental as that may be, it's the truth.
That's
And
the fun part,
and that's the point. Like, how many people at this age can still have fun? Like, no offense. Like, it's some people's idea of fun at this place is, it's a little different,
Yeah.
and Mhm.
I was gonna say, it's fun. We bring up, everything, but you think about the genesis of the Wrestling Wrealm. It was
Yeah.
born as we headed into the thick of the WrestleMania season.
Yeah.
When we met in that class, we was getting ready for WrestleMania 27,
Mhm.
and every single day, like, bro, did you see this? Did you see that? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Especially with all the stuff going on with The Rock. That's when
Yeah.
you coined the term closet wrestling fans, because people would not admit that they were wrestling fans at Morgan State University because they didn't want to feel uncool.
Right, but yet they dipping and dabbling in the conversation. And it's
Mhm.
like, oh, so you know what's going on, huh? And after a while, I think that one of the greatest accomplishments, especially during WrestleMania season, was we made people comfortable enough to have fun talking about something that wasn't the most popular, especially during that era. Like,
Yep.
I remember vividly being in that computer lab, and everybody just starts chiming in on things, and just hear like a meter started going. I'm like, oh, you really? He's like, bro, I really watched this stuff, and I was like, yeah, I could tell. And just everybody was just kind of just enjoying it. And it's like when you can use WrestleMania and just wrestling in general to make people feel comfortable, to enjoy themselves, in a clean way. You know what I mean? It's nothing like it, man. This is the season that we all look forward to. It's a lot of fun, full of surprises, full of comebacks, full of all types of things. It's the greatest show on earth, and not to steal a line from Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey. They're no longer, now that they're defunct as a circus. But WrestleMania is where immortals are born, and there's no doubt in my mind that this year we're going to get some of those moments. I'm sure we'll do we'll have a WrestleMania, like WrestleMania kickoff show that we'll do, just to break down WrestleMania, the card. They're still finalizing things. They're still trying to swerve us. But just the season before that, that the thick of it, just enjoying those moments all the way up into, that's what the WrestleMania season is, and that's what we're referring to. Like I said, we're about a month out, but I'm excited. It sounds like you brothers are excited. It sounds like the wrestling fans are excited. And I'm looking forward to see what happens next, man, as we continue on the road to WrestleMania.
Facts.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you can follow us on all social media platforms at Wrestling Wrealm. Subscribe to our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube at the Wrestling Wrealm. Remember, patreon.com/wrestling_realm. Brothers, WrestleMania season is upon us. I'm enjoying the ride. I know you guys enjoying the ride. I know those who are listening are enjoying the ride. We thank you all for joining us tonight. Those who are listening, by all means, join us when you can. We appreciate the conversation as we do what we always do best. Any last words, good brothers?
Yeah, y'all make sure y'all follow us on Twitter, engage with us at Wrestling Wrealm. We like to talk, so the conversation just gets started here because we're gonna keep it cracking all week and weekend long. So yeah, make sure y'all do that. And,
you know why? Because it's WrestleMania season.
Right.
Season.
Talk to us. We like to talk, like you said. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we like to talk, drop some hot takes, cold takes, all in between takes. And make sure y'all follow us on all social media platforms and buy a shirt.
And
we appreciate it.
And remember, don't be a gump.
Well, I feel like people are going to start trying to like, what are they talking about? What is a gump? Like people are going to look it up and try to figure out what it is. I'm just afraid that Forrest Gump is going to pop up.
They'll find out. If you look it up, you'll see it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're a month out from WrestleMania. We appreciate you joining us. Until next time, peace.
Houston, we have a problem. Yes!